Alright, so I've decided I'm going to tell my vasectomy story because I think it can help a lot of people um, to kind of understand how mine went. And I just think it's a unique story that not a lot of people have my version of a vasectomy story. So, about 2 years ago, I decided that I was going to get a vasectomy. For many reasons. One, because I was done having children. I have a boy and a girl biologically, and I have a stepson as well. I'm 33 years old now. I was 31 at the time. And I decided I was done having kids. And it's a lot less risky of a procedure than for a female to get her tubes tied. And it's a lot less to deal with and less expensive in the long run than traditional, oral contraceptives that a female would take. So it just made sense. It made sense for me. It was something I'd always kind of thought about, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you don't really want to talk about it. Until it comes to the point when you're like, look, it's worth it to have the peace of mind. To not have to worry about an unplanned pregnancy. So I decided to get a vasectomy. We decided to get a vasectomy. Basically, as a couple, it made the most sense. So, let me just tell you how it went down. So I looked up online, different vasectomy procedures, and I didn't realize that there was more than one. There's different ways to go about it. It's not the old school method that they used to do. They have several different ways they can go about it. So I found one called, I think it was said no incision vasectomy. And that piqued my interest. I'm like, really? No incision? That doesn't even make sense. So I look it up, and what it is, it's they basically shoot the numbing agent, I don't know what exactly it is, lidocaine or something. Instead of using a needle into your ball sack and injecting it that way, they actually have this little gun that actually shoots it through your skin. It's super high pressure, and it's like tss, tss, and it shoots it through your skin and numbs you up down there. Okay, so, or maybe it was called a no needle vasectomy, not no incision. Yeah, it was a no needle vasectomy. So they do that. But then the incision is so tiny, right? The incision is I can't even show you. It's like that. It's so little that they don't have to stitch it up whatsoever. They literally put this little dab of medical adhesive on it. They glue the little tiny hole back together, and it heals within a day or two. It's healed back together. So, yeah, it seemed like the way to go to me, the least invasive and the least painful to deal with. So I decided to do it. And the first thing they do is they give you an oral, it's not a painkiller, it's an anxiety reliever, basically. They give you Valium, okay? And they give you a prescription, and you're supposed to take, front-loaded or whatever. You take 3 or 4 pills before you go in for the procedure, and then once you get in there, they give you more of a dose right before the procedure. So you take some of it 45 minutes, a half an hour, something like that beforehand. You go in there, and I'm telling you, I took it, I went in there, and you just feel great, man. All the anxiety you had about it is gone, dude. You feel cool. Everything's cool. Everything's fine, man. You go in there, and it's basically a doctor's office. It's not like a hospital. So I go in, and I sit on the examination table or whatever. It's basically the thing that the gynecologist uses, right? For women, it's the stirrups that you put your legs into, like this. So you lay down, you put your legs up like that, you get naked, and I lay down, spread eagle, and this woman comes in, and basically lathers up my entire nether region. Okay, like balls, penis, whole crotchal region. They put like that disinfectant stuff that they use for surgeries, like that orange stuff, and they lather the entire region up, right? And you're supposed to shave everything beforehand. You gotta shave your scrotum, shave all around. And I think like back in the day they would actually do that, but like what's the point? Especially nowadays, people trim that all the time anyway. So anyway, you shave that up, you go in there. I'm in the stirrups. She lathers up my region, and I'm feeling good, man. It's feeling like a massage. It's not like arousing or anything like that. So don't take it like that. Like, there's no arousal or anything. It's literally just like, wow, like basically if someone was massaging your back, like lathering it up. Okay, so she lathers it up, and then the doctor comes in, and like I said, they have the little gun thing, right? So they shoot my scrotum with the little gun thing. They do like a couple on each side. They find the vas deferens, right? He has to use his fingers to find the vas deferens in there, shoot the numbing agent in. So he does that, and then I don't remember what it was exactly, why he had to do this, but for some reason he had to use a needle too. Oh yeah, that's right. He couldn't find one of my vas deferens, and so they had to use the needle. The whole thing that I was trying to avoid by getting the no needle vasectomy, right? The scariest part, where they stick this long ass needle into your scrotum and inject the numbing agent. But with the needle, it's not as localized. You can numb a bigger region, so that's why they had to do it, because they couldn't find the vas. They would have to go in and find it manually. Basically look around in there and find it. Okay, so the whole thing I didn't want, the fucking needle in my ball sack, they had to do. But, like I said, the Valiums kicked in, and then they gave you that second dose of Valium. Dude, it's fine. Obviously, I was like inside, I was a little worried. I was a little like, I really don't want to have the giant needle in my sack. But, had to be done, and that's kind of how you are on this Valium. You're not like, it's not like everything's great necessarily, but it's like, gotta do it, right? That's how it felt. It just felt like, whatever, I mean, it has to be done, or here we are, let's do it. So, he uses this big-ass needle, and he sticks it in there, and that actually does hurt a little bit. That's the most painful part of it, okay? So, he does that, and then he goes in with the little, they make the tiny, tiny incision, go in, one side, he goes in and clips the vas deferens. They use like a little soldering pin thing to burn each end. So here's the vas deferens. They cut it, and then they burn this end, burn this end. And then tie it together as well, right? So it's like double whammy. Like there's no way sperm's getting through there. Okay. So they get one side done. The other side, he goes in, because remember, he couldn't find the vas deferens with his hands. So he had to go in and manually like look for it. He goes in, they're digging around in there for a while, and he finds something, clips it, burns it, whatever. This is where it gets weird. Okay, so I go home, and the normal recovery time is, and you just walk out. I mean, I walk out of the procedure. It's not like you're bedridden or anything. But you go home, and you're supposed to have like a day to rest and recover, at least. You can go back to work within 2 or 3 days. It's not that big of a deal. The recovery is nothing. It's really not bad. You just lay in bed, watch some Netflix for a day, and rest a bag of frozen peas on your nutsack, and that's it. That's it, and you're good to go. Unless you're me. After 3 days, and they give you painkillers too. They give you like, I don't remember what it was, Tylenol 3 or something like that, Vicodin, I don't know. It's supposed to be pain-free after 3 days. Now, one side was completely pain-free after 3 days. However, the other side the pain got worse. The pain got worse than it was when I started. And I couldn't understand why. So I go back into the doctor. I'm like, dude, what's going on here? So he's like, well, I guess that settles it. I wasn't sure on that second one if that was the vas deferens because it looked a little bit different than the other vas deferens. But I went ahead and cut it just in case. Like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, it was actually, it turns out it was a blood vessel. Yeah, they sent it in for testing to make sure what it was or whatever. It was a blood vessel. But if you watch my other video, you know that that's how I found out that I only had one vas deferens when I was born. That's how they discovered it. But not before clipping the wrong fucking thing, which left me in pain for probably 2 weeks. I had to get 2 refills of the pain medication. I had to take an extra day off work before I could go back. And when I did go back to work, it was pretty excruciating. I had to take some frozen bags of peas with me to work because I drive a truck for a living. Things get rattled around. So, yeah, a much longer recovery than needed. Turned out I only had one vas deferens, but like all that shit was unnecessary. Like the sticking the needle in there, which I didn't want. The clipping the wrong thing and putting me in pain for much longer than necessary. I guess that's kind of my vasectomy horror story. I don't know if it could go much more wrong than that. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't. But yeah, cutting the wrong thing. Like, I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You cut the wrong thing? Like, what kind of surgeon are you? He's like done thousands of these, right? They cut the wrong thing. I guess it could have been worse. They could have cut something much more vital than some blood vessel that, you know, was irrelevant. But yeah, it was really painful. But look, if you're going to have this procedure done, don't be afraid. Like, what happened to me is a super rare thing. In fact, I've never heard ever of another story where this has happened. I've heard of people only having one vas deferens. That's actually a little more common than you might think. But for a doctor to clip the wrong little tube in there and put you in pain for much longer, that's not going to happen to you. I mean, don't worry about that. Other than that, like I said, the other side healed up fine. It took like 2 days. I was back to work, or I would have been completely back to work and fine, if not for the mishap. But otherwise, everything was cool, man. The procedure, not painful at all. The Valium makes it so that you're not really nervous at all. Up until that day, yeah, you're nervous as hell, but once you get that Valium in you, it's really not bad at all. And you go in there, it's really quick. It's within 10 minutes, they're done, you're out of there, and you're going home. And like I said, a day or two to recover with a bag of peas on your junk, and you're good to go, man. It's so worth it to have the peace of mind that, you know, you're not going to have an unwanted pregnancy. So I can't suggest it more to anyone. So I don't want this video to scare the shit out of people not to get it. Like, if you want to get a vasectomy, don't be afraid of it, is what I'm telling you. Like, my story is a 1 in a fucking billion story. That's not going to happen to somebody else. I'd almost guarantee it. So don't be afraid. Anyway, if you like my story time videos like this, please like the video. And I do other stories from throughout my life like this that I think are interesting. And I also do movie reviews, TV series reviews. I talk about pop culture. I talk about comic books, all types of nerd shit. So if you like that type of thing, subscribe to the channel for more, because that's what I do here. I just talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. So if you're into that, subscribe for more. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.